Well, like all good videos, we are going to start with what we're going to do. This greenhouse that was sitting here got destroyed in the storm, and because of that we've got a new one, and it's parked over there on top of those raised boxes. The new one will go up after this gets a layer of stone on it, and that structure, be it whatever it is, gets moved over here and becomes a potting house. And you'll see why I need a potting house when you get into the greenhouse, the one that's standing. But we need a place to put things. I need a place to put things in the pots and play with the dirt and store tools. Over here is the raised box for asparagus. Now, obviously asparagus is very tall, but grass kills asparagus, grass and weeds. So what we have to do is to raise them up for me so I can keep it weeded. I can't get down on my hands and knees anymore. I'm an old man. So we're going to raise the garden, and we're raising asparagus. And this is April the 11th, and I've got one or two coming up in this batch. There's one right there, and we've got a couple here, just little tiny babies. And then after I planted an oversupply of onions, that's another story, I bought too many, and so I've got onions everywhere. Now everybody will tell you that it's a good idea to have companion onions in many places, but the book also says do not plant them in asparagus. So guess what? Here they are. So what we're going to have to do is to sort of let them grow and see what happens. This morning I put in rhubarb, and I've got one rhubarb that is not really what you'd call dormant, and it's right here. It's starting to grow in the package, which is not necessarily the best thing, but it did, so it's there. And you can't plant them any deeper than the crown. So there's the crown, and there's the other one, and we'll just wait and see. This bed has a substantial amount of manure in it. The whole place needs humus. So every one of these beds that you see has had a layer of humus put in early spring. Now we have to be kind of careful with that, because wet and gooey humus in its wet form will burn your plants. So when I start planting stuff in here, which will be root crop, then I have to be sure to put them over here as I find them, so that they do not touch the root or the seed. Here are the onions. These are yellow onions from Guernsey. They get to be, we had them last year, they were real good. They get to be about 2 to 3 inches big, but they only store for about 3 months. I'll show you some other onions in a few moments. This is the strawberry patch. Now it didn't get cow manure, it got chicken manure, because they like nitrogen. And we see we have some blooms coming on already. A little early for them, but there they are. We'll see what happens. So we've got several feet of strawberry. This is garlic. This is the short stake garlic. It doesn't store very well, but it's prolific. The elephant garlic is supposed to be in this row. As you can see, didn't make it, except these two plants here. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we aren't going to lose anything, but I would like to see what the elephant garlic looks like, because it's supposed to be huge. We'll have to keep it for seed. Onions. Now they're in the state of Washington, where it's moist and the humidity is better than what we have here. They get to be about, oh, give or take 3 to 4 inches. They say they can grow in zone 6B, which we are in. So, okay, I'm going to give it a try. I was advised that they'll probably not get much better than 3 inches, but 3 inches is a pretty good sized onion. At any rate, this is something that we nurtured with chicken manure from the chicken house. It's handy to have chickens around. They're good for fertilizer, if nothing else. This is, of course, the price of eggs these days. This is potatoes. And I'm trying something. Nobody tells me anything about companion onions for potatoes. But like I say, I bought twice as many onions as I needed. And I didn't want to throw them away, so, you know, they're stuck every place. We have one sprout coming up here, I can see. Not big enough to photograph, but nevertheless it started. They were planted on, I want to say President's Day, but it's St. Patrick's Day. So I'm waiting to see. They're only that deep in the ground, the potatoes. So the object being is that everybody is on YouTube wants to either cover them with straw or cover them, put them in buckets or do whatever. But it was proven that we have to put some dirt on top in order to get a good crop going. So it's got dirt on top, no straw. This is a pea patch. Pea patch was also sowed. It's just now starting to spring up. The pea patch was sowed on St. Patty's Day. It's might have been a little too early for it, but they're coming up, and the frost that we've had for the last couple of nights didn't seem to affect them a bit. The long line of boxes there won't show up until the sun gets nice and warm and the ground is well above 50 degrees, because that is the pollinator patch. We're attracting as many bees as possible in the greenhouse. As you can see, I definitely need some kind of a potting shed. I've had to use one of my raised beds here for a place to put stuff, and it seems to be piling on top of each other. This is considered to be a mess. You're not supposed to see this. Anybody that grows plants can understand what's going on, but otherwise it doesn't look good. But this is what it has to be. We've got some nice herb, and this is ready to pick. This is ready to go.
Just needs to be cut down so it can grow up again.
Yeah. Well, it's dried and it certainly smells good. Over here, this bed was done March the 10th. The concept is that's a Swiss chard, and it's starting to sprout pretty good. Hopefully it'll continue to sprout. This is going to be Brussels sprouts. The bed's almost ready. I need to put a layer of the Miracle-Gro in-ground fertilizer at a rate of about 1 bag per 2 bags of the topsoil that's already on here. Underneath of all of this is, you guessed it, cow manure. Now, if you want to do that, you can have hands that look like this. This is spinach, and then I think you can see an array of green. It is coming up pretty good, actually. Whoops, there is a piece of grass in here. You don't want grass or any weeds in your spinach. This was an experiment. This is spinach. I wanted to see what would happen if I planted it in the dead of winter, because it says it's cold resistant. And this greenhouse gets below freezing, just like everything else does. But look at that. Nice, beautiful leaves on it. And this makes pretty good whatever you want spinach for. The other part of the experiment was these onions. the little onions that you get in the hardware store that are about that big. I wanted to see what would happen if they were raised during the winter. And okay, they're up, not doing too much. So I'm kind of learning that these back onions though are Guernsey's yellow potatoes or onions, and they were planted when they were supposed to be early spring. And so there you go, nice and green, straight up and down, growing. I've got 1, 2, 3 maybe of the winters put in when the ground was just about frozen. Some people say it'll grow. Let's see what's going on out here now. Okay, this is the hooped squash bin, we'll call it. The hoop is in case we ever need to cover it with the 6 mil plastic that's standard for greenhouses. It's presently it is being fixed and ready for squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, regular yellow squash, and my favorite is of course the butternut squash. The concept is all climbing plants, normally if you leave them alone they'll take to the ground and go for 20 feet. We raise ours on this kind of thing because once you get it up high enough like this, you can tie them on and then they will grow by climbing over this netting, hog wire, what it is. The butternut squash climb, spaghetti squash climb. And sometimes there's a few of the older seeds of the acorn squash, they like to climb a little bit too. So the way this is built, the plant has no choice but to fasten itself here. Maybe you have to have a little bit of urging with a piece of string, and start growing over. And we've had them hanging from the inside out and hanging on the outside, and they do pretty good when they climb. This is not going to be touched until closer to May, because this is beans. I have no trouble with green beans. This ground somehow does a beautiful job with green beans. But I'm going to do an experiment. This is chicken manure here, cow manure down there. I'm going to plant the same amount of seed all along the sides, or all along through this box, and see which does better. Beans like nitrogen, but when they get done growing to a certain point, they put the nitrogen back in the ground. So we'll see how it goes, and later on we might do a thing on that. Hopefully we'll have a couple more of these. This is going to be lima beans, and behind me is the new greenhouse in a box. It'll replace the one we had over there that blew down. These are the boxes that were in the old greenhouse. They'll go back in. This is bigger, so we'll have to add another box, I guess. This was an idea that worked out. This was planted. Both boxes had a substantial amount of spinach. Sorry about that. Senior minute. At any rate, spinach. That one got, after it blew down, got frostbit pretty good because it, the winter was kind of rough on us this year, and it all died. This got a piece of plastic covered over top of it when it blew down, and it grew. So that should tell us something about the hardiness of spinach. And it tastes good too, not to mention. The rest of the garden seen behind me here is going to be in corn, or whatever other little croppage we want to use. We have so much trouble with possums and raccoons, not so much with deer like you would expect, but nevertheless we seem to plant corn every year, and every year we complain about the raccoons killing it or eating it. So that's it for right now. We've got some stuff going on, and we still are growing and still are planting and planning for the future. So you'll have to come around with us again when we start putting that up and see what happens in there in the greenhouse as to how well the crop grows.